Today we're going to be talking about the Claber Logica and Logica Plus water timers. These are both 9-volt tap timers from Claber. They have a single outlet. Main difference between the Logica and the Logica Plus is the Logica Plus is compatible with the wired rain sensor offered by Claber, so it has just a few extra features there. Today we're going to be using the Logica Plus for our example. Any references to rain sensors can be ignored if you just have the standard Logica. Inside of the box with your timer, you should find the timer itself, as well as the protective top cover and the manual that goes with it. I recommend giving this a quick read through just to make sure you're familiar with the timer, but we'll be covering most of the points here today. To fit your top cover, the easiest way is to pop it on so it's closed and just squeeze at the top. You should find that it clicks into place and is now able to hinge open and closed. The timer is a single outlet timer, meaning it's just got the one outlet on the bottom. On the top we have a 3/4 inch thread compatible with the majority of garden taps, and to fit you simply loosen the locking nut, screw it onto your tap, and then tighten the locking nut back down to secure it in position. On the bottom comes with a standard hose connector if your system will allow use of that. Otherwise that can be unscrewed to reveal a 3/4 inch male thread on the bottom. Once you've unboxed your timer, you'll need to fit the battery. To do this, you want to locate the circular holes on the side here. You want to push and squeeze those two together while pulling away, and the timer should come apart. To make things easier, I'd recommend removing this top wire just to separate the two halves for the moment. Inside you have 3 connection points. The one we've just removed, which joins the controller to the valve. This just allows the signal to go through to allow the water to flow through. You have your battery connector, which we'll be connecting up in just a second, and the rain sensor connection. Now with this rain sensor connection, if you're not intending to use a rain sensor, you want to leave this little jumper cable in position, otherwise you may have trouble with the timer down the line. If you have the standard model rather than the Plus, this rain sensor port will not be present and you won't have to worry about that. To fit the battery, simply take your 9-volt battery, connect it onto the terminals, and place it inside the little locking catch down the bottom here. Should click into place and then held securely. The battery is not included with the timer, so you will need to pick one of those up separately. Once that's fitted, take your valve cable, pop it back into position, line up the position of your locking holes, click it back into position. Your timer is now ready to use. The Logica has a very simple control mechanism using just this dial here to pick from a bunch of pre-selected options which are outlined at the top on the lid of the timer. We should show these on screen now so you can follow along. Simply select the program that you want. In this case I'm going to choose program 5. Turn the dial to the one you've selected and give the timer just a minute or two. You should hear it click open like this one just has, and it will begin watering. Now the timer will use the time that it was set at to repeat on the schedule that was programmed into it. So for example, I've selected 3 minutes every 24 hours. So this will water now for 3 minutes, and then in 24 hours time, it will repeat the process. So that means if you want this to water early in the morning, you need to turn this dial to the correct setting at the time you want it to start. Once it's set, close the lid and it's ready to go. The Logica is ideal for beginners to irrigation. If you're not sure with a digital timer, this very easy dial does make it very quick and easy to install. Now it can be a little limited as you're stuck with the options built into it. But if you just want a timer that you can get up and running with very quickly, Logica's ideal for that. Once you reach the end of summer, you're going to need to appropriately store this away for winter. First thing you're going to want to do is remove the timer from the tap simply by loosening that locking nut and unscrewing. You'll also want to remove the battery from the timer before storing it away and give it a good shake. One thing to bear in mind, we like to recommend you store this indoors within the home so that it's in a nice warm environment, just in case there is any water left in the timer. There's no chance of that freezing. Storing it in a shed or garage, there is still a risk that that could freeze and cause damage. A few common problems we find with these timers. First off, when fitting the timer to the tap, you can sometimes have a little bit of leakage around this thread connection. It's usually just due to the timer not butting up against the bottom of the tap fully. Very quick and easy to fix. We usually recommend taking a 3/4 inch washer, placing it on top of the one already provided, causing for a double thickness washer. That means when you screw it on the tap, it makes connection a lot quicker and therefore sealing the leak. That'll usually do it. Otherwise, you can install PTFE tape on the tap to see if that also helps, but usually the washer is the best option. If you find that your timer isn't working on the program you've selected, i.e. on automatic, that's usually down to the rain sensor jumper. So you want to open the timer up and just make sure that is present and seated correctly. Or if you're using a rain sensor, that's plugged in and working correctly. If you have any leakage within the timer, that'll usually occur in this black section here. That's predominantly caused by frost damage, where the water is frozen inside the timer and cracked the plastic. Not too bad to fix. These replacement backs are available. It would not be covered under warranty, but if you let our team know, we can get a replacement back to you, and it's just a case of simply swapping out a few parts to get the timer back up and running. If you're interested in either the Logica or the Logica Plus water timer or any other Claber products, you can find them all on easygardenirrigation.co.uk, and our staff there are always happy to help if you have any other questions.